Alright, testing, testing. Oh wow, there's a new UI for the YouTube live studio, whatever it's called. That's interesting. What's going to be more interesting right now is trying to finish off the game. 1 second. Alright, let's finish this. Oh. Hold on, actually, 1 second. Gamer time. Alright. I believe start from here. Yeah. Still investigation. Tyrion. But we definitely lost. You followed Lord Stillwind's directions to the letter, but it appears you find yourself in the ruins of an old city rather than the estate of the Archduke. I don't understand. This should be the place. Hello, welcome, welcome. Yeah, my plan for this is to try to finish off the game at last. If not, then maybe the next one. I'm probably not gonna play the update because, you know, this is still the old version. The update is coming like in a couple days, but I don't really care enough to just live stream it all again. You know, just, I don't know, find it someone else. Oh yeah, there's also like a new like look to the YouTube live stream thing. I wish I had taken a picture, but anyway, it doesn't matter. The map even has that giant tree north of here. This can't be the city of London that virtual, I'm gonna say virtual mentioned. It doesn't look like anyone's lived here in centuries. But Lord Stillwind's directions were pretty straightforward, so why are we... Wait a minute. Did he give us the wrong location on purpose? Please, what kind of dishonorable cretin do you take me for? Lord Stillwind, what are you two standing around here for? The trial will be starting shortly. He's not alone either. He's flanked by a division of the Kingsguard and area. It's difficult to tell if they're escorting her or keeping watch over her. You can see why the knight's channeling a spell over Arya. Must be an anti-magic field. Even now, she must still be worried about someone taking control of her mind. Wait, this is where we'll be hosting the trial? Yes, the Archduke has been sentimental about this place. And I doubt a normal culprit would have enough space. What? I really don't know what possessed him to trust you. It's a miracle he's even taking part in this at all. But nevertheless, let's not keep him waiting. Before you can ask him to elaborate, he walks past you and heads towards one of these central buildings. It's completely dilapidated. You're a little worried it might collapse on you while you're in it. You look at the prosecutor and raise an eyebrow at her. But she's merely shaking her head. It's clear that she's as lost as you are. Alright, I guess we're doing this. The ruins are filled with everyone who was at the grand Shadowell that day. They all seem to be out of the loop as you are. The only person who seems to be unfazed by this entire situation is Lord Stillwind. He's taking his position at the opposite end of the room. It seems that he's truly plans on prosecuting his daughter. Thank you all for coming here today. I appreciate your cooperation with our investigation. Why have you brought us here? This place is filthy. It's crawling with insects and vermin. My apologies, but what happened here today must be kept under wraps for now. I had to choose a location that was away from modern civilization. But nevertheless, I welcome you all to my home. Wait, you live here? I do. Your Grace, I know you wouldn't bring us here unless you were completely certain. But I want to ask you one more time. Is this truly what you wish to do? There'll be no going back after this. What? I've made many mistakes in my lifetime. I gave Wyvern the means to protect themselves. But all it did was wrap them into something monstrous. I grew bitter to seeing what I created, so I isolated myself from my people. Is he a dragon? I'm gonna guess that he's literally... He's gonna be a tiny little dragon or something. I thought that, because you know, there's like so many dragon mentioned, you know, Wyvern. I thought my best course of action would be to stay in seclusion and leave Wyvern to fend for themselves. I see now what a fool I was. I've abandoned my kin to survive in an unjust world, and now foreign power have ingrained themselves in my kingdom, all because of my negligences. Foreign powers? Does he suspect you're an agent of the Theocracy? Well, no more. It's time that the people of Wyvern and their enemies remember who watches over them. As he raises his hands, magic begins to swirl around him. What's going on? The entire room is violently shaking. Whatever he's casting, it's unlike any magic you've seen before. A blinding light envelops him, but he can still distinctly see his form changing. It's expanding, and from it... Wait, is that... I called it! Yeah! I called it. What? It's a dragon! As the Archer can assume his true form, the galley breaks out into a hysteria. Some of them kneel in reverence to the ancient dragon, some of them cower in absolute terror. You even see some of them attempt to flee before they're stopped by the Knights of the King's Guard. Enough! This may not be a court, but I will have order. You're an ancient dragon? No, you're the last ancient dragon. That is correct, Heavensborn. I am the Lord of all lords. You will stand before Rethian, the Scaled Lord. Soon when I walk amongst your kind, but make no mistake, even I have always had the strength of an ancient dragon. Until now, only the Lord of House of Wyvern have known my true identity. But I'll hide no longer. My will alone will determine how this trial ends. I wonder if Rethian is still alive like you said. I wouldn't be surprised. Despite everything, our kingdom's constitution still includes him in our government. Wait, really? As the savior of our kingdoms, he was given an honorary position on our political heresy. His authority technically rivals that of the king. So that's why you're acting as the arbiter. You're the only person with the authority to convict any and all of the nobles here. Make no mistake, Mr. Bird. I will remain impartial regardless of what transpires here. I will not interfere in this trial, nor will I try to manipulate its outcome. I will only meditate its proceedings and pass judgment when necessary. Well, that's certainly terrifying. And now then, with introduction out of the way, shall we proceed? Of course, Your Grace. The prosecution is ready. The defense is also ready. I'm sure we're all thoroughly aware of why we're gathered here, but for the sake of doing this properly, could you please list the charge, Lucio? Of course. The defendant, Area Stillman is charged with several counts of manslaughter. Her victim includes many knights from the King's Guard who are still unresponsive, and of course, this Lord Von Sanctions and Coraline Sybil, the head of House Von Sanctions and House Sybils respectively. What is this facade? This trial's been over before it began. Lady Stillman clearly overestimated herself. Even a child knows to be wary of marriage, but like, no, don't you see? This is Bahamut's judgment. The divine powers that they clearly think that she is unfit to rule at the king's side. Might I remind the court of my own testament? I witnessed Beatrice Frege enter the prayer room before I lost consciousness. It seems suspicious that this occurred around 50 minutes before Pierce's death.
Objection!
If I recall correctly, you only caught a glimpse of her. You don't know if it was someone else disguised in an illusion. You didn't even speak to her. That's all the more reason to call her to the stand to explain herself. She has already testified that she has no memory of what transpired during the massacre. There's no need to drag this out any longer than necessary, Cuthbert. My client has a right to a fair trial, and Beatrice Frege's involvement clearly implies some sort of foul play. Enough. I find Mr. Cuthbert's request to be reasonable. And I agree that Lady Frege's actions are quite suspect. Very well. Let the defense have his battle. I only hope for his sake that his blade strikes true. Why is everything a war metaphor with you? Beatrice? I'm glad you're safe, Mr. Cuthbert. Not for lack of trying on your part. That wasn't... I have no memories of what I did. Of course. If I hurt you, I am truly sorry. She actually looks pretty sincere. It's not as if this is the first time she lied to you. To be honest, I'm a little doubtful about your memory loss. But I'm not the only one who experienced it. Arya has no memory of what happened. And how would you know that? Word traveled around quickly in the dungeons. What? Yeah, it's totally the demon thing. Demon thing. Regardless, if you have no memory of what happened, could you tell us about what you do remember? Perhaps it's a clue that we haven't discovered yet. Very well. I was with my sisters and my guide, Ares El Marta. I was speaking with them in the garden when I started to feel ill and lost consciousness. When I woke up, my sisters found me. They said that I had gone missing for over an hour. I was confused, but when I heard what happened, I realized that someone must have taken control of my body. I had no memories of what happened, and from what I understand, the same thing happened to Arya. To make matters worse, there's nothing that indicates who may have controlled our actions. So she's also saying someone else was controlling her. But her testimony does match up with Arya's statement. But there's something off about the way she's testifying. If she were trying to lie to you, she would have been a lot more vague. What is she doing? She's been missing since the massacre happened. I really hope she's okay. Oh, make no mistake. What makes you so sure? Do you remember anything about what happened to her? No, but it's just a feeling. Enough of your speculations. Tell us what happened next. If they were with you, shouldn't your sister have noticed this? Going to live... Don't know how to pronounce it. Their pet dog was running amok in the hallway. They left a witness with Elementor to chase him down. And when the sister returned to the garden, both Beatrice and Elementor were gone. Do you remember anything after that? No, I really want to remember, but I can't. She certainly looks like she's telling the truth, but history shows that she's hardly trustworthy. And you have no memory. You have no memory of what happened. No, none at all. I can only imagine what I was forced to do while I was unconscious. Forced? What do you mean by that? So you're also saying that someone else controlled your body? Yes, it's the only explanation for why you saw me in the prayer room. Absolutely ridiculous! Arcane magic is not capable of mind control. You're spinning a fairy tale to absolve yourself. You're compelled to agree with him. So why do you feel something's wrong? Think what you will. Please believe me when I say. Your statement does match up with what happened to my client. But you clearly knew what happened to her. You could just be using that knowledge to fabricate an alibi. I suppose I can't blame you for thinking that after what you saw. Mr. Bird, I know it doesn't mean much coming from me, but I am telling the truth. That remains to be seen. Why would you even bring that up? Well, if you had evidence that someone else was controlling us, it would extradite both me and Arya. Think, Mr. Bird. That would be the best case scenario, wouldn't it? What? It's nothing. She looks extremely frustrated for some reason. Yeah, what stupid thing.
Objection!
Nope, not the right place. Nope.
Objection!
There we go! Yeah! Why would you say something like that? You found the contradiction, but it was almost like she gave it to you. Beatrice, you said there's no indication of who orchestrated this, but there's one piece of evidence that does that, albeit loosely. And what would that be? This symbol. You pull out the pamphlet with the purple mark on it and show it to her. Meredith, what are you doing? What's wrong? He's using his power to suppress our connection. Magic? I can't exactly see what you're trying to show me. Show me. Meredith, can you stop being petty and just let her see it? I don't take orders from you, heaven's born. I wonder, Mr. Bird, what's on that pamphlet? You see, Beatrice, Arya has been investigating a string of murders throughout Wyvern. These murders appear to be unrelated despite how gruesome they are. And they all share one thing in common. This symbol was found at each and every crime scene.
Objection!
Don't tell me my daughter roped you into a little conspiracy theory. Your mind control defense would be laughable if it wasn't downright insulting. Don't steal when, during the gap in Arya's memory, someone placed this mark in her pocket. It was clearly some sort of taunt from whoever orchestrated this. Nonsense! She clearly drew that symbol herself during her psychotic episode. I had to listen to her go on and on about her insane theory. She's obsessed with it! Mr. Jabert, aren't you curious about what just happened? What are you talking about? Think about it. My apology, I don't know why I said that. Is everything okay, Beatrice? Yes, I'm perfectly fine. Anyways, it looks like you have to figure the rest on your own. Figure out the rest on my own? What do you mean by that? There's nothing to figure out. Your Grace, these two are making a mockery of us by spouting these insane theories. The defense clearly has no case. End this at once. Considering what I know, I'd like to indulge this theory. What? The judge is finally giving you a chance for once. That's a first. You shouldn't waste this opportunity. You actually been nosing for quite a while. Beatrice has been acting strange since the trial began. Suspicious, but not in the way that seems to implicate her. It's almost like she's intently trying to make you realize something. Why don't you pull on this thread a little more? She asked you if you were curious about what just happened. You're not sure why she stopped herself when you asked for elaboration. But whatever she was trying to draw your attention to must be significant. Meredith. He didn't allow Beatrice to see the purple mark. He would only do that if Beatrice would recognize it normally. Meredith is a familiar and he used to follow her orders. And things have clearly changed now that she belonged to the Empress of Discord. So why would a demon like Musin interfere like this? The purple mark must be related to a demon somehow. That's the only explanation as to why he would prevent her from seeing the mark. But Arya has been investigating murders throughout Livengard. Does this mean her investigation also has something to do with the demon? Arya suspected that each of the murders were acting against their will, and now both Arya and Beatrice also claimed they were controlled. You can't explain what happened to Arya and those other individual. But you do know why Beatrice might not have full control of her actions. Okay, she's against their will? What? Okay, no. You recall what was written on Beatrice's contract during her trial. It said what would happen if she failed to claim House Frigga. Her soul, her mind, and her life would all be claimed by the Empress of Discord. If this Empress of Discord owns Beatrice's mind, would that mean they could also control Beatrice against their will? If that were true... Wait. No, that can't be right, can it? Did Arya seriously sign a blood contract with the demon? But why would she ever... It can't be her. But it's the conclusion that makes the most sense. Can't think of any other way someone could control her against their will. And it's one way to find out for certain. The divine edicts, the same ability used against Beatrice during her trial. It was instinctual at the time, but you have some understanding of how it works. It creates a copy of a blood contract between a contract holder and the demon who created it. Before it to work, you need to know the name of the contract holder. In addition to that, you need the name of the demon who created the contract. Right now, you're only relying on guesswork, but going off what you know, the demon who made the contract must be... So-called she was mentioned in Beatrice's blood contract, but you still have no idea of who or what she is. However, she was mentioned in a blood contract created by Meredith. She must be his superior in some way. This might explain why Meredith doesn't want Beatrice to identify the purple mark. Not sure if a pseudonym is enough, but it's the closest you could get with what you know so far. You've been awfully quiet for a while, Mr. Bird. What are you thinking about? 1 second ago. Be right back. Alright, and I'm back. He's probably imagining new ways of— oh wait, whoops. He's probably imagining new ways to futile stall for time. I think I figured out why the wind isn't the thing. I can't remember anything. It would explain why they didn't have controls of their actions. Again with this. If you're so convinced of my daughter's conspiracy, why did you prove it? I knew it. Even you don't believe in the nonsense just spouting. Lord Steelwind, I want to be wrong about this. If I'm right, the implications don't bode well for anyone involved. So instead of telling you, I think it's better to show you. Empress of Discord, wherever you may hide. Damn it. I knew you could do it. By the Eye of Horus, I issue you a divine edict. Release thy gods and manifest your blood contract with Ariel Steelwind. Ariel's blood contract. The blood contract seems strange. Unlike Beatrice's contract, it's only one page. Even stranger, there's an empty space at the top half of the page. There are only a few sentences at the bottom. For the intentions of this contract, the person who hands this contract to Ariel Steelwind will be referred to as the patron. By signing this contract, Ariel Steelwind will surrender her mind, body, and soul to the patron. This contract will bind Ariel Steelwind to the patron as long as they both live. It's signed with Ariel's signature. Wait. Let me think about this. Where would someone— she has to be tricked by this, surely. That's what I'm gonna— I have a theory. Someone tricked her into signing it without realizing. This does narrow it down quite significantly when you think about it. I'll just leave it as that for now. No, this can't be true. This is. Enough! Stop prattling against yourself.
Objection!
No, this is a sham! This wrench has clearly created a convincing degenerate, Lucio. It's impossible to falsify something like this. You can't deny the truth, Lord Steelwind. There is a way to control someone else's actions. Ariel Steelwind wasn't affected by Mage Blight, which was controlled against her will. With this evidence, there's no doubt Ariel did sign a blood contract, but it still doesn't make sense. I agree. If Ariel was the type of person to sign a contract with a demon, there isn't a single part of this contract that benefits her. Because there's a large empty space above the terms of your daughter's contract. When I issued a divine edict, it creates a copy of the blood contract that I called for. I think when she was given this contract, it probably looked like something entirely different. Something else was written in this empty space to make it look like a normal legal document, which means that my client was not in control of her action that day. Enough of this, all of you! Do you see now, Lord Steelwind? Ariel was not responsible for what happened. That remains to be proven. What are you talking about? She has a blood conscience that relinquishes control of her free will. That's going to be using that. Not having control and not being responsible are two different things, Chabert. What? I'll admit, the defense may have control over her actions when she murdered the victims. However, she did have full control of herself when she signed this contract. Are you serious? No one in their right mind would willingly sign a contract like this. And what of Beatrice Figure? She was in her right mind when she made a contract with the demon Mirrors? If we can't hold the defendant responsible, surely you should also acquit Lady Frigga for the murder of her father. That's hardly the same thing. I, for one, fail to see the difference. A fool made for the demon, and as a result, several esteemed members of the nobility were killed. She's your daughter, Lucio. And how does that change anything? Damn it, he seriously doesn't care if he can convict Arya. Honestly, this only places more responsibility on her for what happened. I could have accepted if she had been reckless and accidentally induced marriage blight, but to sign a contract with a demon? That only further espouses the need to put her down. She was clearly tricked, Lucio. Is that so? As a fellow attorney, would you really sign a contract without carefully inspecting it? Aye. Whether it was through foolishness, negligence, or both, the defendant willingly signed a blood contract to compromise herself, and as a result, 3 nobles died. The responsibility falls squarely on her. Wait, even if she willingly signed that contract, that's not entirely true, is it? Lucio, there's clearly someone else to blame for Arya's action that day. Oh, and who would that be? I would like to reread my client's blood contract to the court. By signing this contract, Arya Stillwind surrenders her mind, body, and soul to the patron. That can only be one thing. Whoever this patron is, they controlled my client and used her to murder the victim. That's right. They could still be out there. None of us are safe until this patron is apprehended. Surely we can't end this trial while every member of the Wyvern nobility is in danger. Well played. I'm compelled to agree with Mr. Cuthbert. Crookedly or not, it's clearly someone wished ill intent on the nobles. And until we know who this patron is, we can't pass judgment on my client. Not until we know the circumstances that she signed that blood contract under. And what would you have us do, Cuthbert? The contract has no stipulations about proximity or how this mind control works. For all we know, this patron could have murdered the victims all while sitting in their very home. There was a very clear intent behind this attack. Even if the patron didn't directly participate in the murders, they definitely had a motive. If Arya was being controlled, then we can analyze her behavior to determine who was controlling her. I see. That does sound as good a plan as any. At the very least, we can't allow this patron to escape justice. Again, let me just take a look. He was trapped while the murder is happening. That is in itself suspicious. Despite the questions raised, we clearly made some headway. I believe we should take a brief recess to proceed these revelations. Very well. We step outside the Skeletal Lord's lair to get some fresh air. These new revelations are a lot to take in. Celeste looks especially down. From what you've observed, she and Arya has been talking to each other a lot. They must have been friends for over the many times they met. You can't imagine how powerless she felt right now. Arya, I'm so sorry. Don't be, Her voice begins to break. She's always been stoic, but it's clear even she has a breaking point. I can't imagine what you're feeling right now. But there's still hope. If we can find out who did this to you, we can still save you. Do you remember if you signed anything recently? No, I don't. Damn it. The patron must have robbed your memory to cover their tracks. But I still don't understand. Even if I don't remember signing that contract, I don't think I would be that careless. Right, as much as I hate to admit it, Lucia was right. You're an attorney, right? Like me. And we always carefully look over contracts before we sign them. Which raises the question of how the patron got your signature. I don't know. I just... Damn it. I don't even know what circumstances you were under when you signed that contract. For all we know, the patron could use any numbers of tactics to coerce you into doing this. That's also possible. Arya. As you deliberating it amongst yourself, Lord Stillwinds approaches you. What are you doing here? Father. I can't believe him. How does he have nothing to say? His action says otherwise. But he could have sworn you saw something through the eye. So almost as if he was saddened and worried. Oh, no matter how he feels internally, he made it clear he's your enemy. Whatever his motives are, you'll overcome him, just like everyone else. We should also head back. Celeste. Right. No matter what it takes, we're gonna see this through. Court is now resumed. Shall we pick up from where we carried off? How would you like to proceed? I think we should reveal what we do know about the murders. We do have a plethora of witnesses to work with. That's correct. So let's start from the beginning. It all began at noon yesterday morning. I was at my house with my bodyguard Celeste. I was speaking with them when a courier suddenly delivered a letter to my home. It was from Garrick Pierce, who wanted to meet with me and Celeste at the Grand Cathedral of the Lord's Hill at 2 p.m. To make sure we were on time, we arrived at the Grand Cathedral at 1 p.m. At the time, we didn't know that the cathedral was closed to the public. But the knights guarding the cathedral allowed us through anyways. Apparently, they were expecting us. That should not have been possible. Due to the sublimity of the situation, we were particular about who was permitted to enter the cathedral. It's possible that someone pulled strings to let us through, or to enter the cathedral legally. Well, I'm sure that knight from the King's Guard can vouch for us. I know about every order given to the King's Guard, and none of them were told to let you two through. It's possible that the guards we met fell comatose like the others. As long as they're unresponsive, we will never know. Rather, perhaps we should continue. Anyways, we arrived at the church and spent the next hours sightseeing before we went to meet with Pierce. In that time, we met with Remus, Lucio, Arya, Esther, and Elric. And around that time, Arya and Esther left together to meet with the High Speaker in his quarters. While exploring the cathedral, we spoke with Lord Sanctions and Sybil. Then we spoke with the three Frege sisters and Arya Ilmeta. Arya's Ilmeta? She's a friend of Beatrice Frege. The King's Guard wouldn't let her bring her familiar into the cathedral, so she brought Ares to guide her instead. Anyways, we left the garden at around 1:45 p.m. to meet with Pierce in the prayer room. And around the same time, I left a meeting with the High Speaker and felt nauseous. The other thing she remembers is looking at Lake Gallerport, a likely story. Because it's at 2 p.m., Esther wanted to pay respects to his father's body. Unbeknownst to him, America has placed a glimpse of contingency in front of his father's coffin. It was set to trap him within a force cage. What a despicable action! Considering what followed, the attack on His Majesty must have been a diversion. Right. It was also at this time both Beatrice and Ares went missing. Considering the timing of it all, someone must have taken control of Beatrice's body after the trap on Esther was sprung. So you're saying this patron controlled her as well? No, I don't think so. According to her contract, her mind belonged to the Empress of Discord, not the patron. Furthermore, Ares' blood contract was created by the Empress. It's clear that the patron and Empress were in leagues with each other. Wonderful, another demon we have to worry about. Anyways, the patron and the Empress had all the pieces they needed. That's when they began the massacre. Patron took control of Ares' body and he used her to murder Von Sanctions at 2:05 p.m. Presumably, Ares started a fire in the common room at this time. Since Von Sanctions' body was found there, this must have been after she murdered him. Shortly after, Prince Elric spotted smoke from the fire and asked Arya what was going on. Arya responded by using an unknown transmutation spell to encapsulate him. I think they would use her to attack the prince as well. Luckily, the effects of that spell were only temporary. Elric came out unharmed. After this, the patron used area to visit Sybil at 2:50 p.m. She brought Sybil's body to the westward balcony, where she dumped it into Lake Galacon. High Speaker Elchius witnessed this, but he wasn't sure what she'd thrown off the balcony until much later. The High Speaker thought this encounter was strange, but he continued with his business. He headed to the prayer room, but was turned away by the knights standing guard there. Meanwhile, Celeste and I were talking to Lord Pierce. When we showed up for the meeting earlier, he was expecting someone else to show up. We tried to get to the bottom of what was happening, but he refused to answer our questions. And at about 2:20 p.m., we heard a commotion outside. Celeste went to investigate. And that's when Celeste fought Area. The Patreon target was Garrick Pierce, but Celeste was too powerful to neutralize. They fought each other for about 50 minutes before Area was finally able to push past her. During the fight, the Empress sent Beatrice into the prayer room. She probably made Beatrice invisible to move undetected. She then used a sleep skill on Pearson and made us knock us out. I remember checking the time close to when this happened. It must have happened at 2:30 p.m. If your testimony is correct, Beatrice was actively using this plan. Yes, considering how quickly the massacre unfolded, the Empress must have coordinated with the patron. They probably planned with how they would use Beatrice and Area to carry out the murders. Anyways, after Beatrice knocks us out, Area finally pushed past Celeste and entered the prayer room, and before Celeste could chase after her, she had already murdered Pierce. Area and I were already unconscious by the time Celeste entered the room. The patron had already achieved their goal of murdering the three nobles, so she probably fell unconscious after they released their control over her. Area and I regained consciousness shortly after. That's when the Inquisition arrested her for the murders. Lord Pierce was one of the victims. You mean, clearly had more significance than I realized. So tell us, Cuthbert, what was your discussion about? It's fine, you can tell them. Alright, as long as it's okay with you. For the past few months, Celeste and I have been investigating who her birth parents are. I recall receiving many complaints about her during the Lord's Ball. Supposedly, Garrick Pierce had the information we were seeking. He sent us that he wanted to trade his information for his freedom. I assume that they wanted me to be his attorney. Do you only expect us to believe that? Why would he ask help from the attorney who addicted him in the first place? We thought the same thing. And when we arrived for the meeting, it was clear I wasn't the intended recipient. That means that Pierce sent that letter to someone else. You better not be lying to us, Cuthbert. Frankly, I don't much care if you believe me. Regardless, if we examine every action Area took, we can build a psychological profile of the patron. I'll give you that. To begin, the defense would like to call the Inquisition commander to the stand. His testimony might shed some light on how Von Cheeches and Sybil died. Despite all these witness accounts, we still only know how Pierce was murdered. Yes, he was impaled using a magical blade frozen from his own blood. In a grim sort of way, it's almost poetic that he died the same way that Flintheart did, but he doubt that would give Celeste any kind of closure. Anyways, we need to find out how Area murdered Von Cheeches and Sybil. The massacre was swift and efficient. It must have required a lot of forethought. If we figure out who might have had this knowledge, we might be able to figure out who did this. I see. That sounds as good as a plan as any. Kingsguard, escort Commander Ormeral White to the witness stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Right, Commander? I'm sorry, I just can't do this. How am I supposed to act like this is normal? A giant lizard is standing right behind me. Calling me a witness is highly offensive, Commander. Sorry, your lordship, sir. Commander, just try your best to testify about what happened. Yeah. It all started when we received a report from the King's Guard. The prosecutor attacked Prince Alaric and a fire broke out in the common room. We weren't sure what to deal with the common room to put out the fire, but when we got there, we noticed a bunch of unconscious guards in front of the prayer room. We went to the prayer room, and that's where we found Stillwind and Cuthbert unconscious next to Pierce's dead body. We later found his Ensemble too. That's where we realized that she offed all three of them. So you still have no idea how Stillwind was used to murder Funk Sanctions or Sybil. Not a clue. It's especially worse for Funk Sanctions. That fire burnt a lot of the physical evidence of his body. What about Sybil? Was there any physical evidence on her body? No idea about that either. She didn't have any wounds either. All we know is that she died of suffocation. There's definitely more information that you can glean from their investigation. I'm gonna take a look at the evidence. And this is mainly based on Prince Alaric's testimony, am I correct? Yeah. We still have no idea what transmutation spell she hit him with. Judging from the time of the report, this must be well after all three of the murders occurred. Yeah, it was unfortunate how that played out. If Stillwind really was controlled, whoever controlled her knew how to get the job done quickly. That leaves the question of how they did this so efficiently. Was that wise? Regardless of who it was, someone assaulted a Prince of Wyvernguard. We were already dealing with the king who was trapped in that force cage. Honestly, a lot happened in that hour. And most of our attention was focused on keeping the relief. We can already conclude that the attack on the king was a distraction. Whoever orchestrated this must have known we were focusing on keeping the royal family safe. I suppose that makes sense, and the casualty still included many knights from the King's Guard. They probably had to spread the forces then to protect everyone else and handle the fire in the common room. What did you do when you arrived at the common room, Commander? Do you see Ariel or Celeste? No, we only saw the aftermath of their fight. There were marks and craters everywhere in that hallway. Pierce's time of death was 2:45 PM, and the knight didn't arrive at the common room until 3:10 PM. They didn't arrive at the prayer room until well after the battle had taken place. Wait, wouldn't that mean you were in that room with Pierce's body for 25 minutes? Why didn't you look for help? You weren't waking up for some reason, so I kept channeling my healing magic into you. Looking back, I probably should have just looked for help. But even if Ariel was unconscious, I didn't want to leave you alone in that room with her. Right, sorry. Recalling that moment is clearly taking a toll of my mind. We should be more careful. Judging from the timing, this would have been several minutes after he had already died. Yeah, and we have no idea what was going on. Pierce was already dead, and you and Stillwind were unresponsive. I can see why I would be unresponsive. I was hit with a spell specifically designed to make people sleep. But why would Ariel be unresponsive too? We have no idea. We never heard of demonic possession until today. For all we know, it could have all been a side effect of being controlled for over an hour. I suppose that makes sense. But could that common thread truly be a mere coincidence? That last name was a little vague. Perhaps you should ask him to elaborate more on one of the murders. But whose murder should he elaborate on? Divination magic. From his burn mark, he was hit with a fireball before he died. One of the weak him before she dealt the final blow, so he took a direct attack from her before he died. Is it supposed to mean something? Fireball. Okay. You know what? No, press. I'm gonna focus on that one actually. That makes more sense, I think. Oh shit. Alright. Okay. Catherine Bellwether? This is the kind of battle you organize, to be honest, like just having it all in corners. I hope they change that in the upcoming update. Not for my sake, but everyone else's.
Objection!
Nope. Blah 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 blah. Sorry, I'm wrong. No, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. Can't wait for that game to come out. I have to vote the wrong button. Alright. I think I know. Maybe. I don't know. What's this?
Objection!
Nope.
Objection! Objection!
think something that's bothering me now. It's like the spell. Which one is it?
Objection! Object!
Oh, I'm stupid.
Objection! Objection!
You're trying to figure it out. Man, this is actually difficult. No one's? That have to be on someone specifically. Still think it's Coraline because of the... No. Going back, gonna cycle again. Oh, actually no. Wait, maybe? Let me check. Ugh, so much to... This would be easier if I could like just...
Objection!
That's strange. What is it now? Commander White, you said still went and attacked one section with a firebolt well before she suffocated him. Yeah, she probably wanted to injure him so he would be easier to subdue. But that's what I find strange. Von section knew he was under attack, so when he cast Force Cage to repel her? I guess that's true. Von section was hardly a warrior, Shabert. Force Cage is an extremely useful spell, but it has to be aimed. Use it with a firebolt, and he must have been in immense pain. I doubt he will be able to think clearly under those circumstances. I will normally agree with you, but the crime scene tells another story. What do you mean, Mr. Shabert? This. Wait, is it? Transmutation spell. I'm pretty sure. Oh no. It's not that one? Oh yeah, right. It's balcony. This is suspicious. Okay, When we investigated the crime scene, okay, there we go, yeah. When we investigated the crime scene, we found traces of abduction magic that formed a perfect square around the body. I'm sure if we measured the dimension of that square, it would be a perfect 10 feet by 10 feet, which is the same length and width as the cube created by Force Cage. Like he said, he was in no shape to aim it, so he cast Force Cage on himself to create a makeshift barrier. Nonsense! If Force Cage had cast Force Cage on himself, he should have been protected from further harm. The defendant wouldn't have been able to suffocate him after that. Perhaps there's some way to bypass Force Cage. And once again, your ignorance of the arcane arts is made apparent. Force Cage is one of the most powerful abduction magic in existence. It can't be dispelled, and no one can teleport into or out of it. Right, Esther was also trapped in a Force Cage, and he had to wait for the duration to elapse. So how did Stillwind suffocate him? Wait, if Force Cage is a perfectly closed square, is it possible that he ran out of air? That would be a glaring weakness. House Function obviously designed a spell to allow oxygen through the barrier, and before you ask, poisonous gas can't be pushed through the barrier either. Only oxygen can travel through it. Right, and even if they had used poisonous gas, the autopsy report wouldn't have said he was suffocated. Only oxygen can travel through the balance of a Force Cage. So how did Ariel suffocate functions despite that? Oops, wrong gun. Force Cage is specifically designed to allow oxygen through its barrier, but if there's no oxygen left in the room. No oxygen? Ah, I see. It was fine in the common room. The patron knew area couldn't harm Function once he was in that Force Cage, so she started a fire to eat all of the oxygen within the room. The murder of Functions. Ariel Stillman attacked Function with a fireball in the common room. He reacted by creating a Force Cage to protect himself. Seeing that she couldn't break through it, she started a fire to eat all of the oxygen in the room. Function was probably helpless as he suffocated from a lack of oxygen. What should have protected him ended up trapping him, and the inability to dispel it ended up sealing his fate. Well, I suppose that's how the defendant murdered Functions. I see. But with that in mind, I love it sounds like it was improvised at the moment, just like the murder of Pierce. And not only that, we assume that the patron used the same method to kill both Functions and Lady Sabelle. But I doubt Lady Sabelle died under the same circumstances. Correct. There was only one fire. And if Sabelle was in that Force Cage, the defendant wouldn't have been able to throw her body into like Galgroon, which means that Sabelle must have died by aspiration elsewhere. That's our next course of action to determine how Lady Sabelle was murdered. Excuse me. But we still don't know where she was murdered. And the only witness who saw her around that time was the High Speaker, which was after the defendant disposed of Sibyl's body. Well, the High Speaker's testimony is as good as any. For our next witness, the defense would like to call the High Speaker Theon Archerist to the stand. What's wrong? It's nothing. Please carry on. King's Guard, escort High Speaker Ericus to the witness stand. I'll be right back. I just realized this guy is 76. How old is he? Also, I'm back. I mean, no, how old? How old is this area? Huh, okay. Witness, you will testify about. Oh, great and blessed Lord. To think you would bless us with your presence. Oh my god. Ah! Forgive me, Lord Rathian. I spoke out of turn. He must think I'm an arrogant fool. Wow, it looks like there was squish mooching the judge for once. How many times do I have to tell you people that I'm not a god? Yes, I ripped and served the god of dragons, but I'm not Bahamut's avatar. But you're the Scale Lord. I'm just a dragon. I'm not even a powerful one. I'm not a deity. This humility. That's exactly what Bahamut's avatar would say. I swear to God. He even swears by the god's name. Look here, please handle this. Perhaps another approach is warranted. High Speaker Archers, the great and powerful Rathian calls upon you today. We require You require my blood? Oh, of course, I'm gonna give my life for the Scale Lord! What? No! Of course, my blood could never be enough! Would you just let me? I'll do as you wish, my lord. It might take some time, though. I'll need some time to gather some followers and... Oh my god, we just want your testimony. Just tell us what you saw when Mr. When it was at the Westwood balcony yesterday. Oh, I see. If that's what you truly wish, my lord. Are we just gonna ignore how ready he was to commit mass murder? Be quiet, we just got him to calm down. I was doing some paperwork in my quarters, and I suppose I lost track of time. My alarm went off, and I realized it was time for my afternoon prayers. I began heading to the prayer room when I spotted Lady Still Win walking over the Westwood balcony. I tried to greet her, but she didn't respond to me. That's why I noticed she was pushing something large over the balcony and into blank gala cord. I asked her what she was doing, but again, she ignored me and went straight towards the prayer room. I thought nothing of it and made my way there as well. That's when the guard there turned me away. Wait, why did the guard turn away? I went back to my closet to do my prayers there. Considering the timing of it all, this must have happened minutes before she began attacking the prayer room. Yes, I consider myself lucky. The Scale must have raised me with divine luck. Please, just stop. That guard is suspicious. Considering how quickly she was moving, there has to be a reason why she waited there. Was she waiting for the High Speaker to leave? Perhaps you should closely examine the timing of these events. Alright. An alarm? It's a rum material out of the fishery device. I use it to remind me to conduct daily prayers. I see, and do you have it set to go off at a specific time? Yes, it's set to go off at 2:10 PM. 5 minutes before my afternoon prayers. What was her expression like? It was very cold and emotionless. The patron must have had control of her when this happened. Yes, that certainly makes the most sense. Right. What time does this happen? Yeah, shortly after my alarm went off. Would definitely be here before 2:15 PM. And that must have been Spell's body. suppose so. You don't sound so sure of it yourself. It's just, I recall Lady Sibyl's grew up to be much brighter. Meanwhile, the thing I saw, they still went drove the balcony was much darker. Right, I mentioned that before. It's clear that it was just a trick of the sunlight. That balcony is directly above where we found Lady Sibyl's inlaid girl cord. You obviously saw the defendant dumping the body. Where else could it have been? Yes, I suppose you're right. The patron was probably trying to keep her on track. I'm surprised she didn't attack you. Even if the patron was trying to frame her, she hadn't killed Pierce yet. Yes, I'm a little confused about that myself. But perhaps I should be happy I came out of that encounter unharmed. Anyways, how long did you talk to her? Our encounter was very brief, since she was ignoring me. She couldn't have lasted more than 2 minutes. Right, and these guards was still comatose. Alright, yeah. Makes you uneasy that you still don't have an explanation for that. Did the Empress of Discord use some kind of demonic magic to do that? Someone is still behind the scenes. Someone who's... I hate to suspect you, but you're not doing yourself any favors. So, wait, who's this guy? Ah, okay. Being trapped with... And why is... Where is it? Yeah, why is... This is here. The Eye of Horus doesn't link magical traces, so it's possible that my magic is the same. Either way, it's awfully convenient that you left right before the attack on the prayer room happened. But you suppose you have to put a pin on that for now. I doubt it has anything to do with him being the patron, it doesn't make sense for him. Anyways, what time did this happen? I believe it was 12:50 PM. That's when I usually arrive at the prayer room. Yeah, soundproof. His guards and himself is unaware. They know until after. Dun, dun. Okay, I gotta go. Be right back, real quick. And I'm back again. Ah!
Objection!
Wait, what? That's not it? Oh, okay, this one.
Objection!
There we go. Wait, what? Is something wrong? There is, but I'm not really sure what it means. Start stammering and say what you want to say. High speaker, you said you saw Arya dumping something over the ledge of the balcony. There's no need to be vague, Chabert. It's clear from the evidence you saw my daughter dumping Lady Sybil's body. That's the thing, Lord Stillman. It couldn't have been Sybil's body. What are you talking about? The location from that balcony is where we found Lady Sybil's body lines up perfectly. That may be, but the witness said he saw Arya's dumping the body before 12:15 p.m. Wait! You see it, don't you? You see it too, don't you, Lucio? How did Arya dump Coraline Sybil's body into Lake Gurren before 2:15 p.m. if her time of death was 2:18 p.m.? I see. That does seem peculiar. But we know that threw Sybil's body from that balcony. There'll be no other explanation how it ended up there. Yes, that is also true. Perhaps she's still alive when Arya threw her off that balcony? She could have been knocked unconscious for the sleep spell. Your Grace, there were no conscious for the sleep spell. Your Grace, there were no trace of a conjunction magic on her body. And if she was asleep, she wouldn't have survived a fall from that height. The distance from that balcony to the lake is more than 30 stories. And the autopsy report says that the cause of death is suffocation, not blunt force. Right. So when did she die? She must have died after she hit the water. Mr. Bird, she said that she would have died upon impact. She had the opportunity to cast a spell to protect herself. That's why her body is less damaged despite falling from a great height. Again, that doesn't match up with the evidence. But just indulge me for a second. Bam. Well, maybe this. Bam. Bam. That's not gonna be helpful. Could it? She must have cast stone skin on herself. Stone skin? If you recall, the High Speaker mentioned that something was strange about the object Arya threw over the balcony. It's from Master Arcane, they match with Sybil's usual grab. I almost said there was something else Sybil was wearing. That object was actually Lady Sybil's protected by a layer of stone. But that still doesn't explain why she would cast that instead of Slowfall. He's right. She cast Stone Skin on herself before she was thrown into the lake. Area must have attacked her, and she cast that spell in response. That would protect her from the Sylvan Strike. But that doesn't seem right. What do you mean? I may have not seen much, but I saw that the object Area dumped was stiff and motionless. If it had been Lady Sybil, she would have been struggling against her, wouldn't she? That's a good point too. The high speaker saw Area dumping a motionless Sybil. But if you see my logic is correct, she would have also still been alive. A different spell. So why was she struggling against Area? She must have been affected by a spell, and considering it kept her from resisting Area, the patron must have made Area cast the spell on her. It's actually interesting, instead of like, like trying to figure out who the murderer is, trying to figure out what they did utilize the person, a person as a weapon. Imagine using an entire person as a weapon. It was Hold Creature. Sybil must have casted Stone Skin on herself when Area attacked her. The patron must have known that Area couldn't physically damage her like that, so they ordered her to restrain Sybil with that spell. And Sybil died by suffocation. That's right, Lucio. Even if she was restrained, Sybil was still protected by Stone Skin. That would have left. Oh, nope. Sybil suffocated when Area threw her into like Galacron. The Stone Skin lessened the impact of the fall, but also made her drop like a literal rock. Area's Hold Creature prevented her from moving or releasing her spell. She was helpless as she sank to the bottom of the lake. I believe that covers all three of the murders then. Yes. Lord von Sinchen suffocated to death in his own force cage. Lady Sybil drowned after Area cast Hold Creature on her. Von Chaser died after being wounded by a blade created with shape liquid. The only common thread I see is that the patron used some of the victim's magic against them. But how does that connect to Pierce? Did he cast shape liquid to make a blade to defend himself? Maybe the murderer took it from him and used it against him. No, but he was knocked unconscious alongside you. You couldn't been the one to create that blade. Anyways, whoever did this had an in-depth knowledge of each of the spells they used to defend themselves. Wait. What? Right. Oh. And they also knew, and in Sybil's case, they knew that Area couldn't physically harm her once she had Stone Skin active. They also knew that Hold Creature would Skin active. They also knew that Hold Creature would prevent Sybil from dispelling her dad. They did all this in a quick time frame. One change and Sybil died within 30 minutes of each other. And if Area hadn't encountered Celeste, Pierce might have died just as quickly. So whoever did this had an in-depth knowledge of high-level magic. But not only that, they came up with a creative ways to bypass the defenses put out by Von Sanctions and Sybil. Yes, they had the ability to react quickly and decisively. But considering the circumstances, that hardly narrows it down. Several members of the Four Pillar families were present that day. Each and every one of them had studied at the Imperial Academy. They would all be knowledgeable in magic and its applications. attempting to say isn't seeing right with you for some reason. There's something there, but why can't you see it? Ugh, it's no use. It's no use! You can't just piece it together yet. But you're not finished yet. There's another angle to this. Considering who the patron did and didn't target. The victims are Lord Sitchins, Caroline Silver, and Garrick Pierce. What's the similarity we can draw between at least the two of them? One Chieftains and Silver were the heads of their respective noble houses. Are you saying that the patron's goal was to assassinate the leaders of the Four Pillars? That's the move that makes the most sense. But that does leave one question. Don't be coy, I'm not that stupid. Actually, I had doubt it was you. Really now? Out of most of the people there, you could have easily tricked your daughter into signing blood contract. But why would you need to do that? You're the Grand General of Five Guns military, and the castle is filled with young men. You could have easily equipped one of your best mages to carry out this massacre. You wouldn't even need to make a deal with a demon to do so. So why wasn't Lucio targeted then? From her encounter with Celeste? It's clear there's a limit to Ares' combat capability. The Patron must have doubted Ares' ability to defeat the Grand General. But there's also another explanation. House Stillwind for the murders. They used Lucio Stillwind's daughter to commit the crime. Then they intentionally left him alive to cast suspicion on him. That's why they used my daughter? Is that a ting of anger you feel from him? Anyways, that leads me to my next point. Imagine if we never discovered Aria's blood contract with the Empress of Discord. What would have happened? We would still think Stillwind scrambled into mage blind. She would have been convicted for the murders and trust in House Stillwind would be forever diminished. About a month ago, House Frigga lost its head, and its successor, the Frigga, was woefully unprepared to take its place. Now that the head of House Sybil's are dead, is House Stillwind being held responsible for it all? All four of the Pill families would have been weakened as a result of the massacre. But I think there's another layer to this. Everything fits together if we assume the Patron's goal was to weaken the Pillar families. Except for the murders of Garrick Pierce. Yes, in contrast to Sybil and Conscientious, Pierce's political power pales in comparison. Furthermore, Pierce was already scheduled to be executed for the next month for the murder of Flynn Hart McCoy. Why would the Patron go to the trouble of murdering a condemned man? The Patron must murder Pierce because they needed him to die as quickly as possible. Pierce needed the identity of Celeste's biological parents. My parents? Do you remember what Pierce said when we showed up for the meeting? Ah, you finally arrived. I suppose it means you finally decided. Wait, you do? Well, what letter? Blah blah blah. Flashback. We weren't the intended recipients of that letter. That's right. So that leaves one last question. There's only one person Pierce could have sent that letter to. The person who orchestrated the massacre in the first place, the Patron. But that means the Patron is someone who would be threatened by Celeste's parentage. Order in the court. But I don't understand. I'm sorry, I know this is a lot to take in. I think they were targeting you for some reason. Pierce knew the identity of Celeste's parents and attempted to blackmail the patron with this. Instead of complying with Pierce's demand, the patron instead sent the letter to me. But why go through the trouble of luring you there? They could have just allowed Pierce to wait in the prey room while the defendant made her way to murder him. Looking back on it, it's possible they wanted to kill Celeste too. What? They knew I wouldn't meet with Pierce alone, and the main information he had was about her. The patron correctly guessed I would bring her with me. By killing both Pierce and Celeste, they'll eliminate any threat Celeste would pose to them. But who would be threatened by such information? The mere existence of McCoy posed a threat to them. It must have something to do with her birthright. Right. So who would that leave? King the Wyvern God just recently died. Celeste was a member of the royal family. You think I'm a princess? I don't want to suspect Esther, but we need to consider every possibility. When it comes to conflict of inheritance, a royal line of succession is the first thing that comes to mind. Not only that, the king would have had the authority to pardon Pierce for his crimes. But that wouldn't entirely make sense. What do you mean? If McCoy was a bandit at the tavern in Cornhaven, you must assume she's a bad. But you have to bring that up. My point is that King Oliver wouldn't abandon a child of pure royal blood. The kingdom requires heirs to continue the royal bloodline. He would have leveraged her in a diplomatic marriage. That's disgusting. That's diplomacy, Tribbird. Anyways, even if McCoy was of royal blood, Esther is the king's eldest child. It is of pure royal blood. McCoy would have no claim to the throne under these circumstances. Right, I see what you mean. I suppose that eliminates Esther for now. Anyway, we should consider the other suspects first. So who would that leave? I recall during Beatrice Frega's trial, we heard William Frega's last will and testament. He mentioned that House Frega's assets would be divided evenly between all of his children. Ah, if McCoy were to be filled as a Frega. But it still doesn't fit if I don't. I tend to be a good judge of character, and you don't seem like the type to do something like this. I suppose we'll have to see. What if the Eye Taker orchestrated this whole thing? The Eye Taker? That common criminal? Why would he have to do whatever? I heard firsthand he was planning to expand his influence throughout Wyvern. He was actually plotting against Beatrice to use House Frega to do so. Since I ruined his original plans, setting up that massacre must have been his backup plan. Perhaps we were looking at all this wrong. Glimpse of contingency? His Majesty must have died alongside one Satan's Pierce. But you don't see him coming up with any ideas. There's something out here I'm not seeing. I know I'm close. It's the missing piece that ties all this together. Regardless, we still have no idea who this Empress of Discord is. I'm loath to allow such an individual to walk free throughout Wyvern. Your Grace, you've been alive since the creation of Wyvern and magic. Do you know who this demon is? I can't say I do. Demon tends to take on many titles over their lifetimes. Whoever this Empress is, they are brave to so blatantly encroach on my domain like this. Well, I suppose we have to cross that bridge when we get there. We obtained a lot of information today, but we clearly have many questions that needs to be answered. How should we proceed? What is it, Mr. Bird? I can't help but feel there's something here I'm not seeing. I just can't put my finger on it. We've been working on this for quite a while. Perhaps we should suspend proceeding so that we can look into these new leads. I have no objections. We'll give my men time to look into what we have discovered today. Then it's settled. We'll be postponing proceedings for now, but you'll all be expected to return here by tomorrow morning. You're all free to return to your homes for the time being. But make no mistake, the King's Guard will be keeping careful watch over all of you. There's still this constant nagging sensation in the back of your mind. Hey, Tyrion? It's as if you've forgotten something extremely important. Tyrion? What is it? What could be so important yet so difficult to remember? Tyrion! Sorry. I was just thinking about everything. You're looking really stressed out. Do you want to head back to your house to rest? No, we're only a day until the trial resumes. If you can't figure out what happened up to tomorrow, the magical tracer would dissipate. But you already know what happened. You just don't know who did it. Yeah, but we should speak with the suspects again. Maybe if I'm lucky. Maybe if I get lucky, I can see something through the Eye of Horus. But one of these suspects is the Eye Taker. What can you do about him? I suppose I have to speak with him too. What? No! Might be trying to kill you again! That's just a risk I will have to take. Come on, do you even understand what you're being pulled into? What? Someone just murdered a bunch of neighbors, and they even attacked members of the royal family. Now there are ancient dragons and demon lords involved too. Isn't this above your pay grade? Ouch. You know that's not what I meant. It's just that this whole thing is crazy, isn't it? It's fine, it's just like any other of our investigation. It's not though. One of the Emperors of Discord attacks you. Well, the Patreon decided that you're getting too close to the truth. What if I can't? Her voice begins to break. Celeste? I still worry about what happened during the massacre. I'm fine, I already told you that you didn't do anything wrong. You almost died, Tyrion. I know. Tyrion, you almost died. I know, Celeste. No, Tyrion, I don't think you do. You have an idea about how white I was when she broke past me? I saw you all lying on the floor. My mind. I don't know what I would have done if you were. You couldn't even complete that sentence. Celeste, you're so focused on everything else you've been ignoring her. She was attacked by Arya and almost died. You haven't even thought about how traumatic that must have been for her. I'm sorry, I didn't think. Don't apologize, just please. Please just lead this to Lucia and the Scale Lord. You've done enough already, they can figure the rest of it out. And what if it's not enough? I'm not so arrogant that I think they can't do it without me. But what if they can't figure out who the patron is? Arya will spend the rest of her life in prison. What if I could have done something to prevent that? I don't care if that happens. Celeste! I don't care, Tyrion! I will apologize to her all you want after this. And I don't know if I'm able to do that anymore. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Part of my life. What? To care. And I'm really sorry about how much I've been warning you lately, but you're not going to stop, are you? It's like I've always said. Man, king, or god, nothing will stop you from getting justice from the Eye Taker again? We're being some nights with us. Celeste, that's hardly... Nope, you're not here when I get back. I will find you. Judging from my expression, it's not an empty threat. Fine, just go. She might have a point though. Before everything happened, you weren't sure if you wanted to continue being an attorney. Maybe you should consider a safer, quieter life after this is all done. Perhaps a life with her. Wait, what? Alright, at least you cleared it. It's surprisingly easy to convince him. Are you okay? I'm fine. Let's not waste any more time. Before she has a chance to respond, you hate so far ahead? You need to start focus on the trial for area's sake. When this is all over, you'll... Well, you suppose you don't have to think about that until then? Oop. Using the Kingside teleportation network, you're right back in Ratholme, due to Celeste's instances, you're being escorted by a division of the Kingsguard. Definitely making you look out of place. As you walk through the city, you draw a strange look from nearly everyone who sees you. So, where will we be heading first? Oh, tell those trains giving out orders tonight. It's definitely going to take some getting used to. What's wrong? There's definitely something I'm fundamentally missing, but what? Just don't push yourself too hard, okay? Yeah, I'll try and pace myself. Anyways, we should speak with each of the suspects and confirm their alibis. That might help me put some things together. Each of the numbers have returned to their respective home. Our teleportation network should help you travel around Wyvern.
Arcanum.
That's not gonna do anything. A shop selling various wares. The items they sell are more suited for adventurers, so I've never really gone there myself. It's the city courthouse. Every trial I've been a part of has been held in this building, excluding the current trial, obviously. It's one of the many offices of Long Changes Industries. With the death of Floyd, I'm sure his I sweat really hard. I can see my house from here. We arrive at the Fergus Manor, hoping to speak with Leaf and Miriam. After asking around, one of the servants mentioned that they appeared to be entertaining guests in the study. You know he wouldn't interrupt them, but you already eaten up a lot of time traveling here. We're discussing they can wait. Ah! As you enter the study, Draco runs up to you and begins barking. Once he sees who you are, he calms down. Oh, hello friends! Sorry for Borks, Draco thought he smelled something bad. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert. You scan the room and see Miriam is there too. And it appears to be Lord Escalius, whatever. Sorry for budging in, Leaf. No, it's no problem at all. Her emotion implies that she already knows why you're here. I'll skip the pleasantries. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about what happened? Of course, I'll do anything to help Lady Stillwin's situation. Should I leave? No, you were there with me when everything happened. And your testimony rules substantial my alibi. Angry. Leave, I'm sure I know you are. Okay, sorry. Is it okay, you know what? I'm gonna look up how you pronounce that. Is that even a real word? A real name? I mean, you can technically turn everything for... That's not what... Okay. Alpha. You know, I'm gonna say that. Alpha. Alpha, I'm sure you know why I'm here. But just want to preface this by saying I highly doubt you were behind this. No, I perfectly understand. Frankly, I'm also at a loss. I have no idea who did this.
What are you talking about? You're clearly that criminal, the Eye Taker!
Why are you going to interrogate him? Make no mistake, we fully intend to. I'd like to cover everyone else's before I confront him. Then be Miriam.
But it's his fault that Beatrice is...
My sister knew what she was doing when she gave her testimony. Don't insult her bravery by blaming Mr. Jabert for what. Anyway, Mr. Jabert has shown many times that he's acting in good faith, and is capable of convicting criminals that even we can't see. You mentioned Beatrice before. Something might be because Esther doesn't have a blood contract with the Empress. If demons are unable to lie, the same might hold true for angels as well. Divine edicts is clearly some sort of divine magic, so asking for a blood contract that doesn't exist might be considered a lie. Sorry, it's my fault for suggesting it. No, I was being reckless. Please be more careful. I don't think my heart can take this. Well, at least we know Esther wasn't behind this. He was the most obvious one. Either way, Esther, you're still just be some kind of 3D. Caution next time. It would be dishonor. Caution next time. It would be dishonorable. Anyways, you finally find your next suspect here. But judging from the evidence you gathered, it's very unlikely that Esther is the patron. You do wonder if he saw something though. I wonder what happens if we just did the issue a divine edict on you. What? Issue an edict to every person I could think of. But apparently issuing them recklessly can have dire consequences. At the very least, we know you aren't the patron. Would have had a blood contract with the Empress of Discord otherwise. Well, I suppose I'm happy I'm not a suspect anymore. Alright. Let's not! It's because you're a Heavensborn. What? What does me having a Heavensborn have to do with this? It's given to explain to someone like you, but warriors as I must hone and develop our senses to survive in battle. Eventually, we develop the ability to sense hidden enemies and anticipate danger. I heard that such senses are heightened when in the presence of extra-planar entities. Until I met you and Beatrice Fergus familiar, I thought those stories were completely nonsense. Me and Meredith? As a Heavensborn, the blood is said to originate from the heavens. I wouldn't go so far as to say I believe in the existence of other planes, but I admit I still feel a certain aura from you that doesn't feel quite human. So that's why exuding a threatening aura? I know why she became a prosecutor. She thought if she became like an idol and defeated her, you might finally notice her. Harry still would never care about me that much. Are you serious, Dance? When you were still engaged to Lady Figure, you flaunted your relationship in front of my daughter with no regard of her feelings. I remember each and every time I hear her silently crying in her quarters because of how oblivious you are. You changed every part of herself in order to please you. Is he getting angry on her behalf? I had no idea. My daughter is far stronger than any of us, but she's weak when it comes to you. Lucia, there's no point in fighting amongst ourselves. Please stay focused on the investigation. It seems like he cares about Valeria a lot more than you realize. As the Eye of Horus shows that his feelings are genuine. But then why is he doing everything that he can to convict her? Is it because I'm only a suspect, isn't it? Your Majesty, you are the reigning King of Wyverngard. I expect you to conduct yourself with more dignity. Oh, of course. Yeah. All of the evidence is in your favor. He doesn't have a blood contract. Well, I appreciate you. Let's do this one first. Force Cage. Lucio, have you made any headway in figuring out who set that trap for Esther? No, I haven't. Makes me uneasy that you let someone that close to excuse me. Yes, I can't begin to apologize for my men's incompetence. If they were more vigilant, perhaps we could have avoided this whole tragedy entirely. So your men were guarding the late King's coffin? Yes. There was a single moment when his body was left unguarded. We found traces of illusion magic at the location of the Force Cage. Whatever. Although we're still not sure about who could have set that trap, there's a lot of members of the King's Guard that can both caused both Force Cage and glimpse of contingencies, and many of them fell comatose during the massacre. So we don't even know if one of them betrayed us. You think my men are that weak, Your Majesty? I think anyone can be made weak when you put through enough stress. Regardless, we have no way of telling who may have been guarding the coffin when the trap was set. Which means that we have no way of telling when that cliff of contingency was set. I was actually meaning to ask about that. Couldn't we wait for the 48 hours to elapse? We'll make notes of the exact time. The traces of application disappears. We can work backwards to discover the exact time was set. Well, normally we could. When the spell activated, I unfortunately panicked and cast a firebolt to try to destroy it. Of course, it didn't put a dent in the Force Cage. Because of that, he left traces of application at the exact location of the cliffs of contingencies. We can't discern which traces were left by the patron's cliffs of contingency or His Majesty's firebolt. Ah, I'm terribly sorry about that. You can't blame him for reacting like that. One second. Alright. The mood is a little tense. I must ask you, Cuthbert. Why are you going to such lengths for my daughter? What do you mean? Surely you understand the gravity of the situation. By taking part in this trial, you risk drawing the ire of both the nobility and whoever this Empress of Discord is. What are you planning? You're sure I'm not planning anything. Please, do you only expected me to believe that you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart? Well... There's no one here. Damn it! Of course it's not here. Battle Blind's not staying hidden. Oh. Going to area, Terramora is still practicing. So it looks like she hasn't gone to hiding like the IT apparently did. Cuthbert? Are you here to arrest? Can we come in? Yes, of course. Hey Celeste, can you take the knights outside and do a perimeter of the building? What? But are you sure? Oh yeah. But what if something happens? Celeste, we're in a populated building in the capital city of Good. I think I'll be fine. No, but... Sorry, you're right. I'll just... Let's get this over with. Small talk. Is Celeste okay? She seems to be a bit on the edge right now. Yeah, I think she's been protective lately. I don't really blame her. She almost died a few times in the last few days. What? It's a long story. And I don't think I'm about to even talk about it, especially not with you. Saying than you intended. Take a deep breath. I received your letters. Oh, did you? I haven't got the chance to read them yet. Of course. Whenever you're not busy. Mr. Mora, I trusted you. I know. I trusted you. I trusted you everything about myself. Put all my hopes into you. You lied to me. You told a criminal about the Eye of Horus. It took me years before I was comfortable enough to tell you about it, and you knew that. Why did you even adopt me? You could have just left me in the area next and move on with your life. Why would you pull me into this? Sounded like she was trying to look for an answer, but nothing came to her. I started thinking about what my life could have been like. I could have done so many things. I might have been able to move on from losing my mother, but you adopted me and made my entire life focus around that one moment. I had a son once, before you I mean. What? I wasn't always a city person. I used to live in an old farm town, just like McCoy's. My son and I used to run an old tea shop, just the two of us. Wait, you ran a tea shop? I know, it's ridiculous now that I think about it. I was really... What happened? One night, a local nobleman had too much to drink at the local tub. He barged into our shop and started destroying it with his magic. My son tried to stop him, but the Inquisition swept that entire case under the rug, obviously. They said that the nobleman felt threatened and acted in self-defense. She never told you about this before. What was his name? It was Ryan. Oh. Just expecting some kind of like revolutionary name, it's just Ryan. I know a few people named Ryan. Ryan's, if you're here watching this. Yeah, bad name. I'm joking. What did you do after Ryan died? I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do. I was hurt and blinded by rage, so I decided I would take justice into my own hands. Wait, you didn't? No, at the time I thought that killing him would be too easy. I broke into his manor and found every incriminating documents I could find. I found everything from the criminal records of illegitimate children to plots he was making against other noble houses. I released everything to the public. It absolutely ruined him. That's when I realized there was a way to make them pay. You didn't have to harm or kill anyone. You could just beat them at their own game. You could use the rules and laws they made against them. Just like an attorney. Yeah, just like an attorney. When I realized that, I moved to the city and started. I read every book there was to read about Wyverngod's law. I learned how to work the system. I started representing clients who were clearly being framed by the nobility. I didn't really care about saving them. I just wanted to see the look on each noble's face when I implicated them with irrefutable evidence. It got more difficult. As I started punching higher, the nobles got smaller and more influential. I continued to acquit my clients, but the trials got closer and closer each time. I was arrogant and I felt invincible. I thought that no matter what happened, justice would prevail. Then your mother's case happened. I never met someone that remarkable before. She had this way to making you feel happy no matter what kind of mood you are in. Yeah, I remember. I failed her, and I failed you. Miss Tamara, I never blamed you once for what happened. I know, but that doesn't change the fact that I couldn't acquit her. She was executed because I didn't do enough. When he asked me to train you to be an attorney, I was blinded by my desperation. I was so alone, helpless. I wanted someone, anyone to carry this burden with me. So how pathetic must I have been that I would look for that in a grieving 10-year-old child? When I look at you, all I wanted to see was myself. I saw a hurt and broken person who wanted revenge on the nobility. I was too self-centered to realize that you are nothing like me. You care about people. You care more about saving your clients than harming the nobility. And I think I knew all along, but I just refused to see it. Maybe you were right about me. What? Maybe I was just using you to make myself feel better. I took you from your home and forced you to dedicate your life to my dream. Maybe I never really cared. If I did care about you, I would have never pulled you into a life like this. I'm sorry. I can't begin to apologize for doing that to you. I've been thinking long and hard about this. I want to forgive you, Miss Tamora, but I don't know if I can. I don't blame you, but I want to try. She looks away from you for moments. She wipes a single tear. Ugh, my throat's still hurting. Miss Tamora. No, don't call me that. What? If you can try to find it in your heart to forgive me, I want things to be different be different this time. I'm not your superior nor your mentor anymore. We're equals now, so call me by my first name. Oh, okay, Ruby? Saying it feels really strange after all this time. You hope you can get... Right, I almost forgot the entire reason why I came here. What is it? I didn't come here to reconcile. I actually need your help with something. Okay? I need your help you to help me speak to the Eye Taker, Tyrion. I know, considering the circumstances, you would probably strain your partnership with him even more, Tyrion. But if you just tell me where he is, I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't get traced back to you. Tyrion, the Eye Taker is dead. What? He died right after you convicted Beatrice. He was lynched by a mob of civilians. What? Everyone's saying that it was some sort of retaliation from House Frigger. Didn't you notice that he didn't send anyone after you? But Eris has said, wait a minute. By the way, is your father still? Oh, if you're worried about him, your father you have a conversation about you. I don't think he'll be outcasting you anytime soon. Oh, thank you. Then why would Eris say that? Eris? Who's Eris? What? You've met her before. She has long black hair and she wears a black dress. I suppose she really likes black. But anyways, since the Eye Taker's daughter, Tyrion, the Eye Taker's daughter has red hair. What? She was there when we spoke to her during Beatrice's trial. What are you talking about? She was never at that meeting. What? What's going on? She was clearly there. If it weren't for her intervention, the Eye Taker would have attacked her at that very moment. Why are you remembering things differently? No! Tyrion, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Part of you really hope you're wrong about this. There was no way either of them will get here in time. But it's already late and the trials resumes tomorrow. You can't waste any more time traveling to either of their locations. Alice's ill matter. Wherever and wherever you are, by the eye of Horus, I issue you a divine edict. Release thy guards and manifest your blood contract with Ruby Tomora. So you finally figured it out, my dearest Tyrion. This entire time, I've been chasing you. Left the Skull Launch Slayer. She hasn't woken up since then. And Meredith has. Oh, okay, no, whoops, I forgot to unmute. Hello, your lordship. Anyway, basically, yeah, it's gonna finally finish this game. Hello, your lordship. I think this is the first time we've met. You're a lot smarter than I expected. Who is this woman? Why have they brought a civilian before the Scale Lord? People of the court, thank you for your patience. Until now, we've known this woman as Eris Elmater. Ever since the massacre, we've been trying to determine who orchestrated this. We only know an area is still inside a contract with a demon called the Empress of Discord. We still knew very little about this demon. We had no idea who they were or what they even looked like, but we know the truth now. People of the Wyvern nobility, the woman on the witness stand isn't a civilian. She's the demon known as the Empress of Discord. And I have no idea how, but her form is that of a human. Using disguise, she entered the Grand Cathedral, posing as Beatrice Ferrer's guide. He then aided the Patron by using Beatrice's figure to help Area Stillwind massacre members of the nobility. Why are we continuing with this? She's already admitted to taking part in the massacre. Let's force her into telling us who the patron is and be done with this. Ah, how typical. The Garen General thinks he can solve all of his problems with violence. But let me ask you this, why are you assuming that the patron is a human? What? In Aria's contract, it says that the patron is the individual who gives the contract to her. How do you know that I'm not that individual? I go by many names. The Empress of Discord is only one of them. If what you're saying is true, that makes this is a simpler matter. We simply need to execute you for your crimes against the kingdom. Have you forgot what my underling said during Frega's trial? As a demon, I can never truly die. If you destroy my body, I'll simply reform in the abyss hell. I wonder what happens to your daughter if you were to draw my ire. Ugh. You're persecuting her and playing the villain. But I know the truth. You secretly care about her, don't you? What nonsense are you spouting? When you thought you had mage blight, you had to prosecute her. You held on to the little hope that you could convict her and convince her to take a plea deal. As the king's wife, her position might have been salvageable. You did this all so she could be with her beloved Esther. What? But then it was revealed she signed a blood contract with me. That changed everything. Mage blight is one thing, but a demon owning her soul? She can't even very well be a queen like this, now can she? You had to find out who the patron is before the trial end, didn't you, Lucio? Otherwise, your beloved daughter would never be free. And you did all this because you feel bad for what you did to her. Everything I've done is for the good of of House Stillwind. Is that what you're doing? Because the way I see it, you abandoned her for her entire childhood. You felt so guilty about killing her mother that you couldn't bear to face her. No, Eris, stop this. And you know what that did to her. You didn't just take away her mother, you took away her father too. You stopped her of any affection. She couldn't help but latch on to the first person to show any kind of superficial kindness. Eris. She didn't fall in love with Esther, she became obsessed with him. She stopped being her own person and she clings to him like a parasite. She changed everything about herself to suit his likes and desires. And you know how deep in your heart, you know that if he's ever taken away from her, she will fall apart. Since I pity you so much, I'll let you in on a little secret. Killing me won't save your daughter, and you don't have the means to confine me. Even if you know who I am, your daughter will never be safe from my influence. What? But I suppose there's one possible way to break my contract. What? What is it? My contract will bind Arya Stillwind to the patron as long as they both live. If you truly want to save your daughter from my control, all you have to do is kill her. Do the poor thing a favor and put her out of her misery. You little wretch, I'll hunt you down until the end of... Enough! Lucio, we can't antagonize her if we want to find out how this happened. Is she right? Is Arya's fate truly doomed? There has to be something you can do. I just don't understand, Arius. Why are you doing this? You're not a noble, you're not even a citizen of Wyverngut. Why would you go through the trouble of doing any of this? Tyrion, why are you here? What? Why do you constantly risk your life for the sake of others? Why do you try to seek justice in a clearly unjust world? I don't know, honestly. I think you do know. The answer is simple. You do it because it satisfies you. You save people. You fight the system. You just love indulging in your own heroics, don't you? That's not... It feels good, doesn't it, Tyrion? You know that you're the only righteous person in an unjust system. When you succeed, you're hailed as a hero. You fail, it's society's fault, not yours. No matter what happens, you can take solace in the knowledge that you're so much better than everyone else. That superiority you feel over them must be intoxicating. Your divine blood makes it so. Your divine blood makes it so. You just can't resist giving into it. But it's just as your divine blood compels you to do good, my hellish blood compels me to do the opposite. I just can't help but take opportunities to make you all suffer. My entire purpose is to see each and every one of their faces tread in agony and despair. Like taking rough. As soon as I see the word despair, my brain just goes into Danganronpa mode. Freaking game when the word despair comes up. So I should probably make a joke about that in the future. Like, I don't know. Humanity is a stain on the world. They're worthless parasites who steal, maim, and kill to get what they want. That's all they are. And I despise those who try to pretend they're anything but different. You're wrong, Eris. Humanity is so much more than you realize. And I truly pity you if that's all you see in us. Oh, so now it's us. That actually just reminds me. There's something I hate even more than humanities. I despise the celestial of the upper planes who go against the natural order. They condemn and admonish beings like me, all while watching humanity suffer from their secluded little heaven. They realize that heaven would never really choose good over evil. So they created the Heavensborn to tip the balance in their favor. It's so self-indulgent that it makes me want to puke. So that's what the Heavensborns are? It is. and I made quite a hobby out of breaking them and sending back to their creators. I throw them into the deepest pits of despair before extinguishing their lives. There's been no greater joy in my entire life, and it took a lot of work to get you right where I need you, Tyrion. Wait, are you saying you asked me why I did this, didn't you? My actions that day were all for you, my dearest Tyrion. Also, I can see the despair on your face when you realize the truth. Tyrion, no. Excuse me 1 second. That's enough out of you, you witch! Lucio? Cuthbert, you promised me that we would save my daughter together. I'm sorry, You said those words to me with such conviction. Yet here you stand, quivering like a grunt in his first battle. Are a few meager doubts enough to force a retreat from you? Is that all it takes to defeat the infamous Tyrion Cuthbert? Infamous? He's probably desperate at this point. If Ares is the patron, there's very little hope for Aria. Unlike Beatrice, her blood contract was short and concise. There was very little room for interpretation, so I probably can't dispute it either. But what kind of attorney would you be? No, what kind of friend would you be if you didn't see this through? Ares, I didn't call you here to wax poetic with you. The people you harmed have a right to know what you did that day. So either give us your testimony or get out. Even now, you're still undeterred. I really do love that about you. But I do wonder how long that will last. Oh wow. If you can't hear me, just let me know. It's true. I was the one who masterminded this. I knew about the king's funeral at the Grand Chadwell, so I forced Beatrice Frigga to allow me to accompany her. When I was there, I used my contract with Beatrice and Frigga and Aria Stillwind to compel them to act against their will. Through the action of Beatrice and Aria Stillwind, I facilitated the deaths of Lords von Sanctions, Coraline Silver, and Garrett Pierce. The only motivation for my actions that day was to harm Tyrion Cuthbert's friend and make him suffer. And before you ask, aside from my throws, I was acting alone that day. I didn't follow direct or indirect orders from anyone. Your testimony is pretty thorough. Of course, I am a demon after all. Since I'm unable to lie, I thought it would be best to be as detailed as possible. That way there's no room for doubts. Isn't that wonderful, Tyrion? She's definitely playing with you. She may have not technically lied, but she's not acting in good faith. You look at her testimony more closely. Alright, hold on. We can look at that contract. Alright, stop pressing. So you completely carried this plan yourself, Well, I certainly had the help of Beatrice Frigga and Aria Stillwind, so I wasn't truly acting alone. You know what I meant. Yes, I just can't help myself sometimes. To state things plainly, no human willingly helped me with my plans that day. You know that she can't lie, and she probably had a lot of practice deceiving people. So you should keep your wits about you. How did you find out about it? It was supposed to be a closely guarded secret. Oh, Tyrion, I can't tell you all of my secrets now, can I? You can't exactly threaten to charge her with perjury. It's a surprise that she's even testifying in the first place. Until you can extract all the information she has, you just have to play along with her games. What a terrifying ability. Thank you for noticing. That wasn't a compliment. I find it almost quite sickening how you demons prey on people. Prey? People know what they're signing up for when they sign a contract with a demon. You can hardly blame me for collecting for what was freely offered. Please, we both know that area. We both know that Ari didn't knowingly or willingly sign that contract. Aren't you just assuming that? What? How did you know she didn't knowingly sign a contract with me? My client would have never willingly signed a contract with you, Eris. Really? What if I were to threaten her dearest fiancé? You may see Ari as a paragon of justice, but everyone has their breaking point. If that's true, tell us under what circumstances Ariel signed the contract. You knew it. She's just trying to get inside your head. Ariel would have never signed a contract like that, even if it were to protect Esther. Why are you using their full names? You know I can't lie, so I thought I'd give you something. For example, I could have easily referred to another Stillwind or another Frigga in Durham. That list is very long, you know. Ignore her, Lucio. She's trying to get under your skin. Anyways, aside from Piers, Von Station, and Sybil were key members of the Wyvern nobility. What reason could you possibly have to kill three of them? I didn't. What? I didn't have a reason to kill them. I just happened to facilitate their deaths. Oh, but you specifically went after them. I did, but I didn't have any particular reason to do so. But that doesn't make any sense. I suppose it doesn't. Anyways, would you like for me to add that to my testimony? What? It would help you, wouldn't it? Yeah, I suppose so. She has got to be the most unpredictable witness you can cross-examine. I may have to finish up very soon, but I'll just gonna try to finish this first and then, like, you know. We already established that Piers was killed due to his knowledge of Celeste's parentage. How could you possibly have no motivation to see him dead? Aren't you just assuming that? I'm not. That's the only logical conclusion. And that's where you made your mistake. You're assuming that I act logically. You're a bit out of your element right now. Everybody that you investigate always follows some kind of logic. Alright, yeah, okay. There we go. Is it not moving? Alright. Just gonna try and move on. Alright, yeah. What could that mean?
Objection!
What? Oh, freaking the fourth wall, are we? No.
Objection!
Aha! Eris, you said you needed an area to kill them as quickly and efficiently as possible. But that's not exactly what happened, did it? Yes, it appears I underestimated your little bodyguard. Things lasted a little longer than I anticipated. That's not what I was referring to. Oh? You said you needed a area to kill them as efficiently as possible. But that doesn't really match with what happened to Gary Pierce, does it? Is that so? That look on her face, why does she look so happy? Eris, unlike the murders of Von Station and Sybil, Pierce was murdered with the blade frozen with magic. It's such an extremely contrived way to kill somebody. It would only make sense if you were trying to hide the evidence. But that clearly wasn't the intent. I agree, so why would I do that? For the love of God, woman, can you stop speaking in riddles? I had no love for any gods aside from myself. She's behaving differently than she was during her testimony. She's being vague. Is she still hiding something? Okay, stop getting baited by her words for a minute and think about this logically. Honestly, I think I should actually finish up here. I'm not sure which location I have to finish up, sorry. But yeah, it's getting close to the end anyways. I'll do like one more part maybe tomorrow or the day after, depending on like how I feel. And then, that's it. Oh wait, whoops. Wrong. Anyways, yeah. I guess that's it. See ya.